I want to say good afternoon to those that are slowly trickling in. For those out there that are fighting the de facto government, you want to probably join this live stream, or if you know somebody that's fighting against the de facto government, especially a rancher, you want to share this live stream. So this goes to for all the ranchers that are going out that are fighting for the land against the Department of Fish and Wildlife, the United States Forestry Service, the EPA, Department of Quality, and the Bureau of Land Management, the BLM. So if you know a rancher today that is fighting these organizations, including within the de facto courts, you want to share this live stream. This is about the Hammonds. So yesterday, late at night, I received information regarding the Hammonds and how this corrupt judge named Michael Simmons from the District of Oregon. So let me say that again. The treasonous United States Judge Michael Simmons, that was appointed, now listen to this, was appointed by Barack Hussein Obama. So you have to understand and put the ties. The Hammonds and the Bundys regarding Uranium 1, the Russian collusion. Now, as of yesterday, it come to my undivided attention that the treasonous judge Michael Simmons is going after the Hammonds and wants to strip the grazing permits. Now, this is going to get extremely interesting. Guess who Michael Simmons is married to? Treasonous Judge Michael Simmons is married to Susan Marie Bonimi. That's Bonamili. Bonamil. And by the way, both are lawyers. Both are members of the American Bar Association. Both are members of the DNC. Both are traitors to the Constitution. Both are going after the Hammonds. Now, this is amazing. Susan Marie Bonamil, that's Bonamili, is also tied to Karen Suckling. This is the same Karen Suckling that's also behind the endangered tortoise, all the endangered species. The endangered tortoise, the endangered polar bear, the endangered spotted owl, the endangered wolf. Anything that has to do with endangered species, treasonous Karen Suckling is involved. The executive director of the Center of Biological Diversity. Yup, the Center of Biological Diversity, Karen Suckling, that's behind the lawsuit against the Hammonds to strip the Hammonds' grazing rights, is in bed with Michael Simmons' wife, Susan Marie Bonamil. I don't want the American people to take my word for it. There are hyperlinks there. I posted these hyperlinks so the American people can follow the connection. You follow the dots, you follow the money, you follow your conspirators. Who is going against the Hammond? And what is the purpose of going behind the Hammonds? The whole thing about what's happening today, I just found out within the past 24 hours, is about the criminals' intent to remove the Hammonds. Basically, what they want to do is destroy the government. Remember, the Hammonds were forced to sign a document to the de facto government within the state of Oregon. That's Chad Cargis, Rhonda Cargis, Stephen E. Grassi, Boyd Britton, Andy Bentz, Greg Walden, a Republican, Ron Wyden, treasonous Ron Wyden, Senator, treasonous Senator Jeff Merkley, treasonous Governor Kate Brown, treasonous Judge Anna Akins, treasonous Attorney Sally Amanda Marshall, treasonous Attorney Stacey Beckerman, treasonous, what else we have there? I already said Boyd Britton, Dan Nichols, Commissioner, treasonous Pete Reynolds, a commissioner, all that from Harney County and everything that has to do with the state of Oregon. All these criminals, remember, they have to be in place because they already made the deal. This land was already sold underneath the feet of the Hammonds. Stripping the rights or the grazing rights of the Hammonds is to deprive the Hammonds rights Now these criminals, even after Donald J. Trump pardoned the Hammonds, these criminals are going a 180 against everything that the Trump administration gave to the Hammonds. Why is that? Because the land was already sold a long time ago under Barack Hussein Obama's administration, tied to Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation, behind the Clinton collusion and the Russian collusion to sell the Hammonds' land to Russia or to the Chinese. Hey, this is about money and about the minerals and where the Hammonds are at. It's not about, to me, it's about the Dugami in their documents, within the state of Oregon documents, they have the Hammonds' land as minerals. If the Hammonds do not have minerals in their land or underneath their land, then why would Dugami put the Hammonds Ranch tied to these minerals, which is uranium and silver and copper and gold? I am not a geologist. I am not a scientist. I do know is that from the documents of Dugami, that's Department of Oregon Energy and some other BS acronym, words within that acronym. This is what's happening with the Hammonds' land. Now that we know that the treasonous Judge Michael Simmons is married to Susan Marie Bunemela, I can't even pronounce the damn last name, is tied with Karen Suckling and the Center of Biological Diversity through the endangered species. Now they're going to go after. What are the people going to do? These are facts. Let the evidence speak for itself. Follow the money. Follow the campaign contributions. Follow everything that Susan Marie was behind in the Center of Biological Diversity, tied to Karen Suckling. And guess who was there during the standoff against the Hammonds and the Bundys? Karen Suckling. And let's not forget, Anna Aiken's family members were also part of that. Connecting themselves or tying themselves with Karen Suckling from the Center of Biological Diversity. We also know that the Center of Biological Diversity is involved in every lawsuit against a farmer when they want to steal land for either a corporation, like what's happening right now in Tennessee against a woman that's refusing to sell, and the Center of Biological Diversity is being used by a front through a corporation that wants to steal the land and create a project on that land. No different than the project that they want to create on the Hammonds' land. All through the Center of Biological Diversity is just used as a front for the people's land through unconstitutional bills. And by the way, Susan Marie Namela was appointed as a commissioner at one point. Appointed, not elected by the people, appointed. Doesn't that violate, not one, the separation of powers? Doesn't that violate the Supremacy Clause? But doesn't that violate the United States Constitution? And if it violates the United States Constitution, then what the hell is she doing being appointed when everybody should be elected? Because you know what happens when it comes to appointments. It's all about fraud, deceit, theft, racketeering, extortion. Everything that has to do with appointments is no longer rule of law, no longer representing the will of the people, or the country, or the state, or the county. It's about looking for their own gain, financial gain. That's what this is about, money. Stealing people's fortunes for their criminal benefit. This is a conspiracy. This is a conspiracy against the Hammonds. This is a conspiracy to every freaking rancher out there. This is a conspiracy against every Native American. A conspiracy against every black people out there. White people, Hispanic people, Asian people. This is a conspiracy being perpetrated by criminals that are operating within the de facto government and appointing themselves in positions in which they have not earned through the people, through the voting box, through elections. Constitution. Until the American people and the people of Oregon decide to wake up and overthrow these criminals, within the de facto government as stated within the Declaration of Independence, your constitutional rights, your liberty, your freedom, your right to property and the pursuit of happiness is no longer existing in the state of Oregon or anywhere else. This is for everybody that knows a rancher that is struggling and is fighting the center of biological diversity and fighting corrupt politicians and fighting corrupt judges. This live stream is for you to educate yourself, to empower yourself of who are the criminals behind this conspiracy against you or being perpetrated against you. And it's up to you to seek the facts. It's up to you to do the research, because at the end of the day, these treasonous, corrupt attorneys, members of the American Bar Association, will never look out for your best interest for you. And again, at the end of the day, like I always said, to every rancher, especially to the Hammond family and every rancher out there, if the Hammonds want me to come and testify, I'll be more than happy to testify on their behalf at zero expense of the Hammonds. Because it's our duty, it's our obligation as Americans to stand up for other Americans and do what is right and what is righteous. Because if we no longer stand with our brothers and sisters, what was the principle and the purpose of Robert Lavoie Finnegan being murdered or assassinated? No different than Ted Gunderson, no different than William Cooper or Bill Cooper, no different than Aaron Russo. These names that I'm mentioning are icons to the Republic. They're heroes to the Republic for educating and informing the American people with the truth. And it's up to the American people to start putting the pieces together, especially within the state of Oregon. Follow the money, and you'll seek the truth. I don't want the American people to take my word for it. I would love for the American people to start researching and start investigating and start following the money. Because at the end of the day, this is not just about me. This is about us, we the people. And we the people have been betrayed by criminals that are running our government, our so-called government. So those out there within the state of Oregon and that are aware of what's happening with the Hammonds, in which Karen Suckling in the Center of Biological Diversity with a corrupt judge, Michael Simmons, Simons, that is currently reviewing the grazing rights of the Hammonds and is married to Susan Marie Bonamela. Now, should Michael Simmons step down from that case? Absolutely. Isn't this a conflict of interest? Absolutely. You do not think that Michael Simmons' wife, Susan, does not have a conflict of interest with Senator Bundy? Then you're a fool to think less. I posted those hyperlinks. I'm hoping the people follow those hyperlinks. I'm hoping the people follow the money. But I'm most of all, save those hyperlinks in a PDF file, in a thumb drive. So those documents can never disappear because they're there. They're there for a purpose, and they're there for a reason. To educate yourself with the truth. Now, it's not up to me. It's up to the people, the ranchers out there, to circulate this live stream, especially those within the Oregon community. Follow the money. You'll seek your co-conspirators. Now that you understand who's behind going after the Hammonds, round 2, and now the corrupt judges they are using, just like they did with Anna J. Brown and Anna Akins, now comes Michael Simmons. How many more corrupt judges does the state of Oregon have? How many corrupt bureaucrats or politicians does Oregon truly have? I mean, now we added to the list Susan Marie Bonamil, another corrupt politician from the DNC, tied to Barack Hussein Obama and the Clinton Foundation. And now you understand why Portland, Oregon, is a cesspool of corruption. Just like Salem, and just like Eugene, Oregon. It's and Harney of corruption. And the only way we extract this cesspool is by exposing these rats and these roaches. Because once you shine the light, they run. But the problem is, it's up to the people to hold these criminals accountable. And if the people are not willing to hold these criminals accountable, then they will continue to defraud the people of Oregon. And to Antifa, they're also defrauding your future, your money, your children, and your grandchildren. These criminals are only setting up themselves and children. They can care less about you, about if you're Republican or Democrat. Because at the end of the day, they're screwing the both of us. Republicans, Democrats, Independents, Libertarian, and Constitutionalists. Or none party. If you're man or female. If you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, or Jewish. Or Catholic, or Christian. Or Muslim. You are getting hosed. Through taxation without representation. Because as long as we continue to be divided, as long as you allow George Soros and the Clinton Foundation so we can self-destruct each other, so we can depopulate each other, and continue the distraction, these criminals continue to get away with what they're doing. And it's up to the American people to put the pieces together. Now that we have found the common denominator behind the endangered species in Karen suckling from the Center of Biological Diversity from the state of Arizona, embedded in the state of Oregon, to steal land from the ranchers. No different than what they're doing in Tennessee or anywhere else. And by the way, Karen Suckling did get sued for $1.5 million for using the law firms to fabricate and manipulate the facts. Through slander and defamation and tort, he was sued $1.5 million, in which I confronted and they acknowledged that lawsuit. I would bring that lawsuit as an expository evidence into the Hammond's lawsuit. Why? Because that would show the Center of Biological Diversity's intent. And when you show intent, criminal intent, remember Hillary Clinton, intent, the word intent, in which James Comey used, intent. Now we're using it with Center of Biological Diversity and Karen Suckling, the intent, and especially the law firm, to steal the Hammond's land. And to defraud the Hammonds from making a living. Because they want to financially destroy them. So the Hammonds have a diversity and have an amazing countersuit against the Center of Biological Diversity, and it has an amazing lawsuit to expose the rats that are in bed with the Center of Biological Diversity, especially those corrupt politicians, those corrupt lobbyists, those corrupt judges, and those corrupt attorneys, members of the American Bar Association, including the SPLC and the ACLU, all funded through George Soros. So, Donald J. Strong says, why Russia? Well, if you understand about Uranium 1, came through Oregon, through Steens Mountain, in which Bill Clinton in 2000 allocated federal lands, Steens Mountain. And in Steens Mountain, there is uranium, according to Dugami. And under Steens Mountain is where the Hammond's property lies. And then where the Hammond's property lies, it was already sold by members of the Clinton Foundation. That's why. So this has already been sold. This is what the whole standoff was about. This is why Robert Lavoie Finnegan was murdered, for standing for the Hammonds. Because they didn't want the exposure. So the Uranium 1 deal comes to the heart of Harney County, Oregon. That's why, Donald. And you won't hear it from your media, or your lame duck media. You're going to hear it from the alternative media. Including people like myself. If you go back to my old live streams, you'll see it's all well documented. is doing everything possible to steal the land, the land of the Hammonds, because it's already been sold. And now the only way they're going to do it is through their financial means. And this is why they forced the Hammonds to sell first to the de facto government. Not to anyone else, to the de facto government under Chad Cargis and Rhonda Cargis. These are facts. So for those out there, and those ranchers out there in the state of Oregon, please circulate this live stream. And it's up to the American people to start waking up of what's happening in Oregon for round 2. I call it round 2. Again, now that this corrupt criminal, Michael Simmons, is going to try to halt the Hammonds' grazing rights. Michael Simmons' wife, Susan Marie Bonhomme, is tied with Karen Suckling in the Center of Biological Diversity and the Endangered Species. Shine the right. Now that you have it there, I hope you guys circulate it. Because if it's happening to the Hammonds, God-loving Americans, God-loving ranchers, what makes you say it's not happening to every other rancher or Native American out there? Or anyone? Just saying. So, at the end of the day, the links are there. It's up to the American people to follow the truth of what's really happening in the de facto courtroom of Michael Simmons and who he's tied to, or his wife is tied to. So the information is there. And to the American people, God bless our military, God bless our republic, God bless our children and our grandchildren. I wish everybody the best of luck, and God bless.